application of capital asset pricing model, that is CAPM. Write up this equation and define each of these variables the way it is appearing over here. ERX stands for expected rate of return on project X as per CAPM. RF stands for risk-free rate. RM stands for rate of return on market portfolio, or you can simply say rate of return prevailing in the market, and beta symbol indicates beta factor for project X. I am going to explain you the meaning of beta also. It is though a separate concept, but in the flow of discussion what we are having, it is part of RADR. So here we are discussing about application of concept of capital asset pricing model within the category of risk adjusted discounting rate. In the previous question, what did you see? You have seen a table giving different degrees of coefficient of variation along with the applicable RADR on a corresponding basis. So coefficient of variation itself is a measure of risk. You have learnt that earlier under the statistical techniques or modern techniques. CV itself is a measure of risk. So higher the degree of CV means higher the risk, the corresponding RADR were given to you. But in the situations that you are going to face ahead, you will find that this RADR you might be required to calculate. Now, if you are required to calculate RADR, risk-free rate will be given to you, but risk premium you will have to compute on your own. While we were discussing the concept of RADR, I am sure many students had that doubt in their mind that if RADR is aggregate of risk-free rate and risk premium, and we have understood what is risk-free rate, how to compute that risk premium, that is what we are going to learn over here using this technique of capital asset pricing model. To understand capital asset pricing model, what you first need to understand is the meaning of beta. So for understanding the meaning of beta, what is needed? Beta is again a measure of risk. So just like standard deviation, just like CV, beta is also a measure of risk. However, beta is not a measure of absolute risk. It is a measure of relative risk. So suppose I give you an example that beta of a project is 1.2 times. If beta of a project is given as 1.2 times, how would you interpret? Whatever be the risk prevailing in the market, project which we are analyzing has a risk of 1.2 times compared to the risk prevailing in the market. So market risk will be considered as the base, and the beta what is being informed, that beta will be the degree of risk as compared to the market. In other words, beta is a measure of risk in relation to the risk prevailing in the market. So please understand this point very well. Beta is a measure of relative risk, and I gave you an example. If beta is 1.2 times, that means the risk involved in that project is 1.2 times of the risk involved in the market generally, and therefore if beta is 1.2 times, I would say the risk involved in the project is 20% more than the risk prevailing in the market. When I say 1.2 times means the degree of risk is higher, correct? If I say beta of project X is 0.9, so market beta, the base beta is always 1. If I say beta of project X is 0.9, indication is very clear that the degree of risk of project X is lower than that of market risk. In that case, I would say the risk of project X is 10% lower than the risk prevailing in the market. So let us do one thing. Let us also write the meaning of beta, and then we take a calculative example to understand the application, and then we move to the full-fledged questions on RADR technique. So let us move ahead and write up the meaning of beta. Beta is a relative risk measure. It measures and indicates risk of a particular project in relation with market. For example, if beta of project A is 1.2 times, it is understood that risk of project A is 1.2 times the risk prevailing in the market. Let us move ahead and write up an example. In this example, what is given? Risk-free rate is 7% per annum. Rate of return in the market is 15% per annum. Beta of project X is 1.2 times. You are required to analyze the situation using capital asset pricing model and determine the RADR for project X. So we are still into RADR category, but we are using now an approach to compute RADR using capital asset pricing model. Let me now discuss this in entirety with you, and let us understand how to compute RADR in a given case like this. Please focus on the given values over here. First of all, you have been given risk-free rate as 7%. And the rate of return which is prevailing in the market for the degree of risk that prevails in the market is given as 15%. So first thing that you need to understand is split that market rate of return of 15% into two components. Split that into two components. What I am trying to explain you is the logic behind that CAPM equation that you have written some time back. Because if you mug up that equation and just put values and extract the answers, that is not going to work. You need to understand what is the logic behind that. So I repeat, the CAPM application begins with splitting the market rate of return into two components, which in our example is given as 15% as market returns. Split that into two components, that is risk-free rate plus the premium for taking risk. Now you had been asking one doubt, correct? There had been a doubt in your mind, as in what is this risk premium? Premium is nothing but a reward, additional reward for taking risk. So in this case, when you split that 15% into two segments, risk-free rate is 7% and the premium for taking the risk will be 8%. So 7 plus 8. This 7% which is given as risk-free rate is commonly applicable for everyone, me, you, everyone. But that 8% which is risk premium, which is the reward for taking the risk, will vary with entity to entity depending upon the type of risk they take and the beta applicable over there. Now what is the beta given over here? Beta given over here in this example is 1.2 times. That means the risk involved in that project X is 1.2 times the risk prevailing in the market. So for the market returns, if you are getting the returns or the risk premium of 8%, I mean for the degree of risk prevailing in the market, if you are getting the premium of 8% for the risk which is greater than the market, you should be getting more premium. Let me explain this again. For the degree of risk prevailing in the market, the premium is 8%. We have already analyzed that. So for market risk, the premium is 8. If the risk is 1.2 times of the market, premium also should be 1.2 times of the market. If premium has to be 1.2 times of the market, you simply tell me how much is 1.2 times of 8. 8 into 1.2 will give you 9.6. 9.6 should be the premium that is applicable for project X in this example, and because premium is 9.6, risk-free rate is 7%, take aggregate of the two, 7 plus 9.6 will give you 16.6% as expected rate of return on project X. So what I have explained, I am going to show you that on screen for you to have a clear understanding, and then if you still have problem in understanding, I'll provide you more explanation. So let us write some conclusion out of what we have discussed. So please pay attention on the screen and write this further. As I have explained you already, rate of return which is prevailing in the market, it is 15%, risk-free rate is 7%, so risk premium will be 8%. It is 15 minus 7 that you obtain as 8%. An investor who is ready to invest in the market would expect 15% per annum returns, that is 7% as risk-free rate and 8% as premium for taking the risk prevailing in the market. Project X has a beta of 1.2. That means the risk associated with project X is 20% more than the risk prevailing in the market. Therefore, the investor will definitely expect a higher reward for such high risk, that is by expecting 20% more premium. Therefore, the expected risk premium for the investor equals to 8 plus 20%, and that will be 9.6%. You may either take 1.2 times multiplied to it or add 20% to it. It will not make any difference. Let us move ahead, and we can conclude that expected rate of return as per capital asset pricing model is 7 plus 9.6, that will be 16.6%. Now, this is what we have derived logically. If you want to apply the formula and make the computation, so ERX will be RF plus RM minus RF into beta of X, where ERX is the expected rate of return on project X as per CAPM, RF is risk-free rate, RM is rate of return on market, and beta is the beta factor for project X, where you have understood the meaning of beta. When we apply the calculation, what we get is 7 plus within brackets RM minus RF means 15 minus 7, and 15 minus 7 will be multiplied to beta, that is 1.2. So 15 minus 7 is 8, 8 into 1.2 is 9.6, and 9.6 added to 7, it will give you 16.6. So with the logic that you have written in the previous slide, that logic is the base of this CAPM equation. So in exam we are not going to write that detailed logic, but we will apply formula and make the calculation this way. Time for us to move ahead and take up question number 2 from your book. For your reference, I am displaying the question over here. Let us read this question. Determine the risk adjusted net present value of the following projects. They have given net cash outlays for each of the 3 projects XYZ as 6 lakh, 6 lakh, 6 lakh. Project life is also same, but annual cash flows are different. And now they have given beta factors for the projects. Can you notice one thing? The project that gives more cash flow is having more risk also, as indicated by beta, and they inform you further that the company selects risk adjusted rate of discounting on the basis of CAPM. Risk free rate is given as 10% and market return is given as 20%. Let us see how to obtain the risk adjusted discounting rate for the 3 projects using capital asset pricing model. So in your solution, you would first write determining risk adjusted discounting rate for each individual project using CAPM. RADR for project X will be 10 plus 20 minus 10 into 1.6, that comes to 26%. For Y, it will be 10 plus 20 minus 10 into 1.2, that comes to 22%. And for Z, it will be 10 plus 20 minus 10 into 1.4, and it comes to 24%. Once you get the RADR for each project, then you have to just apply the NPV calculation. So you got the discounting rate, different discounting rates for different projects. Now you just have to compute NPV. This time question did not provide you annuity factors, so you would compute annuity factors also on your own. And when question is silent about PV factors or annuity factors, I have instructed you to take 6 places after decimal. Don't forget that. Let us move ahead and look into what is the NPV for each of the 3 projects one by one, beginning with project X. The annual cash inflow is given to you as 2,70,000. Annuity factor at 20% for 5 years. Annuity factor at 26% for 5 years would be 2.635071. Multiplying this, what you get is total PV of inflow as 7,11,469. Subtract total PV of outflow, which is 6 lakhs. What you get is 1,11,469. Let us move ahead and make the calculation for project Y. Same way, here the annual cash flow is 2,30,000, and here the discounting rate, that is RADR, is 22%. So when you take the present value of inflows, what you get is 6,58,637. From that you subtract the total PV of outflows, and what you get is NPV as 58,637. Let us move ahead and write up the calculation for project Z. The annual cash inflow is given as 2,50,000. PV of annuities at 24% per annum for 5 years will be 2.745384. So total PV of inflow comes to 6,86,346, and subtracting the initial investment, you get NPV of 86,346. As per RADR technique, project X is the best among the 3 projects analyzed above. Because cost of the projects are same, life is the same, NPV will be the best criteria, and based on NPV, project X is the best project.